All right. So on gold, I was saying this starting the structure, starting the structure from this part of we have it like that. Let me use this. I'll talk about it here also. So we have it like this. There's so I have it like this. There's a break of structure at this point, and a return, and that break of structure, a continuation of what we have. Then it stopped at this point. Now this didn't go below this, so we can't consider this the structure point. So we had it break this point being bullish, and at some point it broke it again. So what I'm expecting now is that since we have this, there's this daily last structure point, then it broke it to the upside. So definitely the daily is bullish now. One thing you need to know is that the weekly is bullish, the daily is bullish. So these two things are what will guide our smaller time frame idea based on what we have. Now, personally for me, I don't trust that equal loads on the weekly. So one thing is pointing out to me as manipulation in this case. So we have this low here, then it breaks it, then there's a break of structure to this side, and it also breaks it to the downside. So definitely with this kind of schema, or with this manipulation of lows and highs, I would not want I would not want to see the daily just going to the upside. What I want to see now is that we accumulate. So this should be my PS, my SC, then my AR, possibly my ST, then this should be SOS. Now this SOS, I don't want it going above SOS. SOS should be the highest point of this thing where you go to. So this daily structure should not be sustained. In the fact that I even have I'm so bullish on DXY means I'll be bearish on this particular currency pair. Now one and that confluence of gold is USD JPY. Now in this case, in USD JPY, just like I mentioned before, I mentioned that USD JPY was distributed successfully. So for USD JPY to go down, then gold must be going up. Now, for one thing to note is that not exactly every movement, pip by pip, the whole thing will do. So it's either I have this as going up to this side, then I'll be looking at what happens here, because this point there's a 4 hour order block here, which I don't think it will hold. It will hold very much because we are forming this liquidity. I'll go to the 4 hour time frame so I see the liquidity we are forming. We are forming that liquidity over there. So at some point it will still break to the upside and possibly come down. Then I'll be looking at what happens at this point. But before that time, it's definitely a short term long for me. But if you are talking about the long term idea, I would definitely want to take a long term trade, then possibly uh, take out my trade from this point to this point where I have a new monthly high. So because the whole thing, this whole thing here is coming from the monthly. So that should be about good on the lower on the higher time frame. Let me just go to lower time frame to give you guys the gist of what's happening in there. And on 1 hour, or possibly let's start with 4 hours. Okay, so on 4 hours we have this 4 hour break of structure. So we don't this there's no low here, there's no high, a new high here. So this is definitely not our lower low. What I'll be looking at is let it tap into this liquidity sitting right here. Then I take it from there to the upside again. So this would be my TP, and I would maybe something like this on. All right, so something just anything below the liquidity, we'll probably be refining this SND week because this week took out the liquidity from this point. Now, the liquidity I'm talking about is this liquidity here. It took it this particular week, took it out. So definitely on the smaller time frame, it's on these higher time frames and SND, if you refine it further, you should be getting a smaller order block or something. So I'll definitely be looking at this portion of gold as my 4 hour long entry. Then this will be my exit. So that will be my exit. And that should be on the 4 hours. So with this idea on the 4 hours, and knowing of the fact that we are still going to break this whole charade is trying to play here because this whole thing is the liquidity I was talking about. So you have this liquidity, this trend line that is acting as though it's a support. So that, and we also have liquidity sitting right above right above this point. So if you are to say a good TP from this point, if you can hold it to this point, there is no problem. But a reasonable TP will be the next high, your next 4 hour high. And definitely we are not distributing or accumulating here. So there's no cause for alarm for a reversal at this point. So let's just look into the 1 hour real quick. The 1 hour possibly 15 minutes, and we could we could continue to Bitcoin and we end this today's market commentary. So on the 1 hour, it's still the same. We still have the same market structure playing out. So the same place where the 4 hour structure was broken was also where the 1 hour was broken. So we have this as our new higher high. This is your higher low, and this is your higher high. Then we don't have a confirmed higher low, we don't have a confirmed higher high. So we definitely will be looking at what is the play in here, what's playing on in here. So are we looking to redistribute, then possibly accumulate here, then go up to the upside, or we could have this as our higher high, higher low, then go up to the upside. Then possibly if there's a rejection from this within this 4 order block, we could break this liquidity to the downside because definitely I really don't want to see gold going up anymore. But if it does, we'll take it. We'll just react to what the price gives us. But for now, this is a short term long. Then on the 15 minutes, let's just see what the play in this point at that point. So let me delete this. All right, so this the other block here is what I'm talking about. Then we just tap into this liquidity, then tap this other block, and we are moving to the upside. So this is on the 15 minute, and on the 15 minutes, you have your structure quite differently. So this is II, then break of structure to this side. Then you've not had a new I. You've not had a new high until I think this point. Yeah, so this point. So this point had a new high, they broke it to the downside. So definitely we are bearish on the 15 minutes. So what we'll be looking at is what is the next order block? Next order block is sitting right here. This other block sitting right there. Another block sitting right there will be my point of interest for gold shorting. But I want to see what's happening on the say on the 5 minutes, 5 minutes, the 5 minutes. You should see okay on the 5 minute there's a break of structure already to the downside. So possibly you should have your rejection. But I really want to see a distribution, sorry, not a redistribution. A distribution and we've not even there is no it hasn't tapped into this other block yet. So it's just having patience of your area of interest. Let's get to your area of interest. So this is one place I want you to tap into. And possibly if it goes as high as this point, that will be another zone I want you to tap into. So that would be your area of interest for gold. Then we have this, then a break of structure. This is a break of structure to this side. So I definitely will be having this as my PS. That's if it distributes, then this will be my buying climax, ARS, TSOW. So if it goes up to this side, then that will be my distribution. So I'm looking at this point too, because this other block here caused a break of structure. So a break of this structure here. So if it distributes, then this will be your buying climax, your ST, then your UT should come up. Then just be looking at the nearest supply zone, or we look at this point here. So you should have it your gold going like this, then to the downside. So the downside, your next day profit will be this point. Then the main trade I want to look at is taking a long from that point to the next 4 hour high. So that would be for gold. On the long term, I'm bearish and like highly bearish, even to the 1600s. But on the short term, the daily is bullish. So I really don't want to play. I don't want to play based on what my bias is saying. I want to play based on what the market is giving. Now the daily is bullish on the on the present time frame. So until I see a change of daily structure, will I continue to have a bias of 1,600? But for now, I would keep playing what the daily is giving. So if we continue to go upward, then we definitely will be catching those moves. So that would be all on gold for now. So just you combining everything that you've learned or you know to see what the market will give you. So let's just go into BTC, maybe ETH, but BTC especially. All right, so BTC, this is let me start from the on BTC we're in a bearish weekly structure. We're in a bearish weekly structure with this with this whole thing that happened there, this distribution that happened there on the smaller time frame on daily. So this is my weekly high, this is my weekly low. Then I'm expecting that the market does something like that, then comes to this side, then accumulate. Once it accumulates to the upside. So on the smaller time frame, that's for the weekly now. On the smaller time frame, on the daily now, the daily is quite bearish. Also, we have this bearish structure, a break of structure, and this will be my last structure point for daily. So I don't want it going below above this point. So what I want to see in play here is a distribution on the smaller time frame, say on the 4 hours. I want to see a distribution play out on the 4 hours. So for now, the daily is bearish. Bitcoin is bearish until it takes out all this liquidity. So once it takes out those liquidity and it gets to 19K or 20K, then I'll be looking to load up my portfolio. But for now, on the 4 hours, what do I see on the 4 hours? I see on the 4 hours, I see this manipulation coming up. This is this. So we broke this high to the upside, then we broke it to the downside. So definitely we have our manipulation in play over there. Then we broke it to the downside, we broke this to the upside, then we broke this to the downside. So we have our manipulation in play. So what I want to see now is a redistribution, manipulation. What I want to see is a redistribution to the upside. So this would tell me the movement that happens now will tell me whether we are going to the upside, or my volume now will tell me whether we are really distributing, or we are uh, accumulating in that sense now. So this is a low volume, but I want to see as the volume ensues, as it gets to UT, I want to see a change in volume to the, I want to see an increase in volume, not just this small volume. I want to see an increase in the volume character. So till then, I'm still looking at BTC and keeping my bias at the back of my palm while following what the market will do. So on ETH also, ETH is also similar to ETH is also similar to BTC. So I think let me see. I don't think this is not where I marked it up. Um, not definitely not here. So okay, so I this was what this is what I'm expecting on ETH. So we have this. If you are familiar with Elliott wave, but definitely we are not using Elliott wave to do this. But for my personal all counting and personal study, this was gotten using Elliott wave. So I have this break of structure on the weekly. So this is my weekly high, weekly low, and this is my weekly high. So I'm looking at something here. It gets to this weekly low, this weekly structure point, and continues to the upside. So that would be for ETH. So I have this as my last structure point on weekly. That structure point on weekly. So we should definitely be having this and continue to the upside. So on the daily is definitely bearish. So you have this uh, break of structure to the upside, then we have this break to the downside. So we've had our one thing we've you will notice is this ETH has broken bullish on the daily. So what I'm expecting now is the manipulation of this low. Once it manipulates this low, then my accumulation is confirmed, and I continue to take this trade below this or at this point here, below this liquidity sitting right there. So that's what I want to see on ETH. But for now, on the lower time frame, you will definitely be be having a short, it will be a short idea. Well, I don't think this hasn't even broken the low. So we are still about daily being bearish. But one thing to notice, this is your 4 hours. So definitely all this liquidity it has taken this one. So I want to take this one, take this liquidity also. So definitely we'll be coming to that point there, then continue to the downside. So that's for the lower time frame analysis on ETH. And I don't think at least the persons I know, I don't think anyone's trading crypto. So most of these things are just the long term ideas on crypto. I personally do a long term trade idea on crypto, just like you see here, and on BTC also. So I've had my BTC short around this test, though I closed it already. So what I'm looking for now is once my BTC get to this 19K, and one confluence you see with this thing is with the 19K area is there is an order block that caused the old moves to the upside started from this sell to buy candle. So this sell to buy candle is a very powerful sell to buy candle, coupled with the fact that we are on a breaker block here. So we're on that breaker block over there, which was supposed to serve as my my bearish order block. But what do you see? It broke through it. Then they formed this other block over here. So that last other block, this particular place from 1906 till up right up to 14.7 probable place of longing or buying BTC or loading up BTC, or whether you are trading BTC for a long term sales position. But personally, I'm looking to get in at the 18.7. So that will be about BTC's confluence for now. So I think that should be all for today's market commentary session. And I think I should be uploading this on the Telegram if I deem it fit. So you guys can go back to it and I give some other guys. So thank you guys for coming. And are there questions you might want to ask before I end the session? Are there questions you might want to ask? All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Spark.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you very much.
Yep.